Hey everyone, welcome to the first video of the Second Look Society. The premise of Second Look Society is just to start a conversation about all the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. And today I wanted to talk about the high school required reading list. This is a conversation that I get into with my husband a lot. We'll be sitting around and reminiscing or talking about our experiences, whether or not they were from high school or maybe early college, and all the things that I wish I did differently, but also all the things I wish that my teachers, that my school, that the community around the school did differently as well. So I made a list of all of the books that I could remember that I was supposed to read in high school. I didn't read them. So in 10th grade, and a little backstory, I moved from Canada in after the ninth grade, which is still considered junior high in Canada. And so I found myself as a sophomore, never really being a freshman in the United States. So this would be from 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. So I do remember in 10th grade being required to read Julius Caesar by Shakespeare. I did read that one. I didn't understand a single thing out of it. And the only thing that I can remember to this day is Et tu, Brute, or Et tu, Brutus. The other book that I did also read was To Kill a Mockingbird. And that one also, I do not remember at all. I feel as though I was just reading it word, 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 and not actually understanding it, not comprehending it. I was not in a place as a 15-year-old to understand the ramifications of race relations in the South. I wasn't from the South, I was from Canada, and I was living in the Northwest. It didn't ever affect me. And so it was really hard for me to understand really what was going on. And even though I read it, I don't remember it at all. In 11th grade, we had to read Huckleberry Finn. Guess what? I didn't read it. I'm sorry, Mrs. Huntley. I know I got the best grade in the class on that exam, but I just paid attention during that study period right beforehand, where really we had all the answers we needed for that test. I've never read it to this day, and actually, I don't really want to. Tale of Two Cities, also, I can't remember whether or not I was supposed to read that in 11th grade or 12th grade, but it was right at the end of the school year. Of course, I wasn't going to read it at the end of the school year. I had so many things going on. I had everything outside of school. Everybody was looking forward to summer. I'm not going to read Tale of Two Cities. I will say, though, that after I finished grad school, so I was 26 years old and I spent the entire summer reading all the books that I should have read. Huckleberry Finn was not one that I went back to, but I read Tale of Two Cities and it is one of my absolute favorite books now. Whether or not that is because it's a great book, I don't know. But I know that when I was 16 or 17, I would have hated it and I probably wouldn't have read it as an older person. Beowulf, I read in AP English. I actually read it and I actually loved it. And it's kind of funny because I have a master's in medieval studies. So, of course, I loved it. But getting back to the idea of Tale of Two Cities and the idea of are we old enough to understand those books? I really don't feel that. And maybe this was actually just a product of the school that I went to, but we were not taught, we were not led to understand really the context that surrounds these books. A Tale of Two Cities, I mean, that is the French Revolution. It is magnificent. It is so fascinating. And I had no idea what that book was about. Even if I was to read it, I wouldn't have understood what I was reading. I wouldn't have gotten it. So having that context to put that book in, maybe even watching a movie about the French Revolution. I mean, I love actually, don't kill me. I love Marie Antoinette, Kirsten Dunst's version. It could be because we share the same first name, but I do really love that version. And to read Tale of Two Cities and then watch that movie and go back and forth and have a dialogue about it, it really actually creates this sense of understanding, I think. But the deeper meaning of these books, of the history around them, of the context of them, I mean, is it beyond the grasp of teenagers? Are we actually doing kids and teenagers a disservice by making them read these books? And this is where my husband and I differ every single time we have this conversation. He's from the camp that believes that books provide a window into somebody else's life so that you can understand what they're going through and you can put yourself in their shoes so that you have better empathy growing up. I don't disagree with that in theory, but I do disagree with that in practice. And that when you are a kid, when you are a teenager, you don't care about anybody else. You are only thinking about yourself. I'm pretty sure my dad is probably going to be like, yeah, this is what I was telling you when you were 17 years old. But you're only caring about yourself. You only want to read about characters that reflect you. I do remember reading, it took me one day to read it. I spent like all day Saturday or Sunday in high school reading Perks of Being a Wallflower. I don't remember that book at all right now, but I knew I liked it enough to read it in one day in high school. So, my camp or the perspective that I bring to the conversation is that we don't understand as teenagers. We don't care. We don't want to know about somebody else's life. We want to see ourselves in the characters that we are reading. Now, I don't think I saw myself in Beowulf. I definitely did not see myself in Huck Finn. I didn't see myself in Julius Caesar at all. Maybe Tale of Two Cities I could have, thought about if we were talking about the fashion or if we were talking about, all the fun behind the scenes of the actual aristocracy or the royals. I didn't see myself in To Kill a Mockingbird at all. And so it was really hard for me to care, to read these books and care. Again, like I said, I went back and I read Tale of Two Cities after grad school. I was 26 years old. I still haven't reread To Kill a Mockingbird, but I was lucky enough to see it on Broadway twice. And the woman who plays Scout is Celia Keenan Bolger. And I actually was lucky enough to be an acquaintance of her. And I cried my eyes out both times that I saw that production on Broadway, not only because the story is really sad, really moving, but it was also so amazing to see her doing what she loves. And she's so brilliant at it. But that's an entirely different tangent. Just wanted to start this conversation. Like, what do you think about the high school reading that you had to read? And did you even read it? Here is a safe space for us to actually talk about the fact that we didn't read what we were supposed to read. And maybe we wish that we did. And maybe we can go back and actually read it and enjoy it this time around. Now that we know more, now that we've lived a whole lot more. I will say, I don't want to get down on the teachers that I had. I had a really good English teacher. My junior year, one of my clearest memories actually is we had to go to the library and pick out a book to read for a book report. And my junior English teacher understood that I didn't care about any of the books that were in that library. None of them were going to challenge me. None of them were going to keep me interested. So she actually brought a book from her own collection, and it was Like Water for Chocolate. And I read that book and I loved that book. And now that I think about it, I do really wonder whether or not she was trying to tell me something about my personal life. Maybe I was giving too much of myself to the others that surrounded me. But I do really want to make sure that this isn't a bashing of teachers. This is just perhaps a way again to start a conversation about where we are in education, where we are in the state of things, where we are in making kids and teenagers read books that that don't appeal to them, that they don't understand, that they don't live through. I mean, is the answer bringing YA books into the curriculum? Is the answer allowing them to choose the books? I do know that when somebody tells me what I have to do, still to this day, I don't want to do it. I do have to come to this realization myself, and I have to want to read the book myself. And I don't think I've changed all that much from high school. So definitely tell me all your secrets. Did you read the books in high school? Did you enjoy them? Did you just, let them sit on your nightstand and tell yourself, oh, tomorrow night I'll read it. Oh, this weekend I'll get it done. I'd love to hear from you. So definitely comment below, and look forward to more of these videos. They are all going to be book-based or education-based. Just kind of, again, a little ranting of the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. So yeah, stay tuned. I'll see you later. Bye.